Good morning, and thank you all for joining us this morning. My friends, as we slowly make our way into a post-pandemic era, we find the world is a much different place than it was 3 years ago. Global inflation has been climbing and made ever worse by the war in Europe. The aftermath of COVID-19 on our economy, healthcare, and communities has been troubling for all families across our beautiful province. The cost of food has skyrocketed. The price of staples like milk, bread, eggs have increased dramatically over the last year. Things like diapers, home heating, gas, housing, and other essentials along with it. It touches every aspect of our lives. Make no mistake, the cost of living is a current and real emergency for many people in our province. Our government recognizes that. We have heard that. We listened. We have been there to responsibly support Newfoundlanders and Labradorians in the past, but we know we need to do more now. So today we are putting money back in your pockets in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm happy to announce that we will help families and seniors weather the impacts of rising costs with an immediate check for up to $500. This is our effort to help right now, when people need it the most, to provide some relief on rising prices and hopefully alleviate the stress and strain felt in households across our province. Every adult who earns less than $100,000 a year will receive a cost of living check for $500. This is non-taxable, automatic, and will go directly into your pocket. Those earning up to $125,000 will receive an amount based on a sliding scale. Please know that we are ever fully committed and constantly working towards a balanced budget and paying down our debt and long-term debt while creating and investing in our future. We know the needs of every household in our province are different. And this cost of living check gives everyone the flexibility to put some money where they need it most, whether that's groceries or rent, home heating or gas. We hope this will reduce some of the anxiety being felt right now. I know many will have questions as how this is possible given the heavy economic forecasts that have been overshadowing our province. And that situation remains real and significant. But we are committed to continuing to pay down debt. And today's measures are in addition to paying down debt. This has been acknowledged by the credit rating agencies across the country, but we know that families in our households across our province are in need right now. As always, we will take a balanced approach. But the situation Newfoundlanders and Labradorians find themselves in at this moment requires an immediate response, because our government is here to take responsible decisions for the benefit of all of Newfoundland and Labrador, with a view to the past, present, and future. Thank you. Minister Coady.
Thank you very much, Premier. A one-time cost of living relief measure of up to $500 will be provided to approximately 392,000 residents of our province who are 18 years of age and over and filed a 2021 tax return as of December 31st, 2022. 2021 tax filers will automatically receive this support. No application is necessary. As long as you've filed your 2021 tax return and you qualify, you will receive a payment. Once passed in the House of Assembly, we hope to have the checks in people's hands as quickly as possible, beginning later in 2022. As the Premier said, this one-time relief payment is an investment of almost $200 million, and we're able to provide this one-time payment to you this year because we're experiencing and expecting increased revenues. The financial update will be provided in the coming weeks. While these measures are necessary right now, due to the global pressures of rising costs, decisions to help Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are made with the province's fiscal situation in mind, as the Premier said, addressing the past, the present, and the future. This $500 relief payment is an addition to the targeted cost of living measures that we've implemented since March of 2022, including lowering the tax on gasoline and diesel at the pump by 8 cents per litre temporarily, the temporary elimination of the retail sales tax on home insurance, 50% reduction in the cost of registering passenger vehicles, light trucks and taxis for a year, and a 10% increase to the income supplement and seniors benefit, as well as the home heating supplement program, which ranges between $200 and $500 and is available to residents whose adjusted family income for 2021 was $150,000 or less and have directly incurred costs for the purchase of furnace or stove oil to heat their home. The application process for the home heating supplement is currently open, and I'm encouraging anyone and everyone qualified to apply for the deadline by November 30th of 2022, and we've already begun mailing out checks to residents. So while this rise in cost of living is due to challenges that are global in nature, we know we all feel it here close to home, and we hope today's relief measure helps ease some of your concerns. Thank you.
We'll now invite questions from the media.
Minister Coady, hoping you can give a little bit more detail on the timelines for this. I know you said later in 2022. What are we talking about here, like in a month, couple months?
Yeah, certainly. As we have to go to the House of Assembly to get supplementary supply, we hope to do that imminently. As soon as that passes the House of Assembly, we're setting up a process to get those checks. We've already been in touch with the CRA to get the data, and as soon as we have the data, we have the information, we'll be able to start sending out checks. So it will be, within the next couple of months, so before year end.
Yeah, let's just say our hope and intent is before Christmas.
What's the expected total cost of this?
It's approximately $200 million.
How did you come up with the figure it's $500, right?
That's right. We did a kind of jurisdictional scan about what others had done, and it seemed in line, and had looked at the research from there and what people thought, how that impacted their household budgets, and felt that it was a reasonable quantum right now. Yeah.
And you referenced other jurisdictions maybe on that.
Quebec, Saskatchewan, Alberta, all have done similar relief efforts.
How did you decide to go the cash injection route rather than a tax credit?
Oh, because for a number of reasons. First of all, we approached it from a program perspective earlier in the year, providing tax relief through different mechanisms and different levers, whether that's cutting the tax at the pumps, relief on tax on home insurance, cutting the motor vehicle registration in half. So we took a program approach in the spring, but recognized that we had to do a little bit more. So that's why we're creating a check today, which is non-recurring, of course, which is also important. Some of those others have the potential to be recurring. They're not currently, but that's the reason we picked this particular instrument to help people today.
And it's also fairly immediate. If you change, say, for example, something in the tax system, then when you filed your 2022, so it will be a little bit longer. Now we know this fall you'll be able to have a check in your hands.
Do you mind, forgive me if I missed this, but do you mind providing some more details about, you mentioned that revenue was higher than expected?
Sure. So there will be a fall fiscal update in a couple of weeks. But it's safe to say, as you've seen in other provinces across the country, that the fiscal situation temporarily has improved in the province. And we feel that given the stress and strain that families are feeling, that it's important that we take some of that change and give it back to people.
So to give you,
So there will be an update, a fall fiscal update that will kind of have the exact quantums.
and just to give you an example, we know that in the budget, we said the price of oil was $86. That was based on 11 different forecasters. We all know it's been much higher than that. And for basically every dollar increase, it's about a $13 million impact to the Treasury. So just based on those numbers, you can see, the revenue to government has been higher this year.
And that's a natural resource belonging to the people, and we've made more revenue from that natural resource. The people are having problems right now, and they're hurting right now, and we feel that they deserve to have a share of that.
Can you talk a little bit about how the conversation went? Because $200 million, that's a large figure that probably could have gone in investment somewhere else.
No, so, yeah, sure, absolutely. So we're taking a balanced approach, so it's not just a single quantum. We're looking at the fiscal scenario of the province and its improved position, and trying to divide that in a responsible way, recognizing the past, paying off some credit card debt, which will afford different opportunities moving into the future, addressing the present, the current strain that families are feeling with the check, and then investing into things like the future fund for the future. Imagine if we had invested in the future fund or an equivalent similar to Norway back in 2000s. We'd be in a much different fiscal position today. So we're taking that past, present, future approach, and we think that that's a balanced and fair approach given the fiscal situation and realities of the province with this one-time change in the fiscal situation.
You know, any investment you might make similar to this, people would say, why isn't it in healthcare, for instance?
Yeah.
How would you respond to this?
Well, we're continuing to invest in healthcare, and healthcare is a recurring stream, and we know the importance of it. We're continuing to invest. I mean, you saw Minister Osborne yesterday announce another investment. We're continuing to invest in healthcare and recognize that that is an important investment for the future of the province, and we'll continue to do so. But this is outside of our ability to pay off debt and invest in programs like healthcare.
Why did you decide to make this announcement today?
We felt that, as moving towards the fall fiscal update, that we had a better understanding of the fiscal position. And once we had that understanding, I think it's important to get money to the people when they need it most. Going into the winter months when people are going to struggle, the inflation is not expected to change in the short term. People are going to struggle, and we want to make sure that they have a little bit of a cushion that we can provide based on the revenues that have been received.
And we also have to go to the House of Assembly for a supplementary supply for this. And so we wanted to get that done as quickly as possible, to get people, to get checks in people's hands as quickly as possible, before the end of the year.
This check heading into the winter. So you'll see the fall fiscal update within the next couple of weeks that will assign specifics to the revenue streams and where our debt and deficit position is. But I want to reemphasize it's a balanced approach of paying down debt, which will, of course, help future budgets, addressing today, the needs of today, given the high cost of milk and all the essentials of life, and addressing the future, recognizing that we have a volatile economy that's largely based on commodities that swing. We understand that, and therefore, when times are good, we want to make sure that we are adding that extra bit of savings to an instrument like the Future Fund.
This is a one-time payment. Do you have any plans in the works for the future?
Well, of course, there are the program relief issues that we had already discussed earlier, things like the motor vehicle registration cut, the relief on home insurance tax, and childcare and affordable. We're starting $10 a day childcare this January. All of those programs will continue. This is a one-time check, but the programs will they need to be reevaluated, but are certainly in place for the rest of the fiscal year.
And we will look at, we're coming into a budget again in the spring of the year. So, as the Premier said, we've made huge investments in programming. We just had to look at our fiscal reality and see where we go from there. But this we know people in the province need right now, and we had a good fiscal year. Better revenues, and I just gave an example of the oil revenues just as an example. So we want to get that back in people's hands as quickly as possible.
And we want to emphasize that it's this three-pronged approach: paying off debt, addressing today, and investing in the future. And we're able, because of the change in position of the province, we're able to do all three. So now we're not borrowing money to hand out. We're able to use the extra revenue this year to pay down debt, pay people today, recognize the inflationary costs that are at people's dinner tables, and addressing the future through the Future Fund.
Will you be tracking at all how people are spending this money?
Well, part of the reason to announce a check as opposed to a different program is everyone's household needs are different. Some people, of course, are still on home heat, $50,000. to be exact. So that perhaps they will distribute that 500 differently than those who are struggling with kids soccer and hockey, all of which, of course, are subject to inflationary pressures. Others will presumably use it directly for food, and the increase in the price of milk went from, of course, it's up to $4.50, $6.50 in some areas of Labrador for 2 liters. So we are confident that people will spend it appropriately.
Some people might say that that's $250 to $500 for taxpayers with income between 100 and 125K. People might say they might not need that money as much as, say, somebody earning less. What would you say to that?
Well, that's why we picked a sliding scale as a tipping point to end the program. So it's not just, if you make $100,000, you get $500. If you make $101,000, you get nothing. So it's a sliding scale for that purpose.
And we have a multitude. I've listed off a number of programs that we have, and we've given additional supports to income support recipients, for example. So this is, we've kind of tried to hit as many households, as many tax filers, as many people as possible with this. And we felt that, up to 125 could get $250. It's some assistance to them in a very difficult, challenging year.
All right, thank you all.
Great.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much. See you at the Colonial Building.
Go.